to this nation in such short amounts of time, and what the people have become themselves, they're responsible as well. They're the ones that bought more than they could afford. They got into the whole consumer trap, buying things that they didn't need but wanted. We're the only nation on earth where people have self-storage units. They have so much junk, they have to put it off-site. And pretty soon that word is going to become applicable in the sense that people will be storing themselves in those units as they lose their homes in their future. People have to get in shape. One of the top trends in 2010 is going to be Shape Up America. We're looking at numbers now that are coming out, Eric, that in 8 years, 43% of Americans are going to be obese. We've overconsumed in every way possible. Go back to the Great Depression. Look at the immigrants that used to come into this country, what they look like, how they were dressed, the style, the dignity. When people regain that, then we're going to have a shift. We need a renaissance in America, a rebirth. Remember, following the Dark Age, after a third of Europe was decimated, dead, gone, the people realized, hey, maybe we're not doing it correctly. Look at the plight of our lives. It was a renaissance that followed, a rebirth, a rediscovery of the ancients. Alle Romana e alla Antica, they said in Florence at the height of the Renaissance, in the manner of the Romans and the ancients to describe the quality of their work. We need the same kind of renaissance in America. And that's the only thing that could save us from the future. The politicians, the Republicans and the Democrats, the mafia, the Washington mafia, and the Wall Street gang are taking this country down. So when we say a renaissance, it means when was America best and what is the rebirth? Well, when it wasn't about Wall Street, it was about Main Street. People that go to Walmarts, that ugly situation that they call a store, a big box store. They went to mom and pop stores where everybody knew you. And when it wasn't about this factory farm, low quality, hormone-induced, genetically modified, pesticide-laden factory farm food, it was about the family farm, high quality. And that's what we need to get back to if America is going to prosper. A renaissance, high quality. Quality counts. Less is more. Not big portions to feed a pig, but a great small portion of high quality, highly nutritious, energy infused food that could be pushing you through the day at a higher level. So the people have to first regain their dignity, bring themselves up, aspire to higher levels before this country is going to go in the direction that's going to save it.
Before we move on, Gerald, I want to talk to you about some of the tactics that governments use to prepare citizens really for an expansion of the police state. So 2 things here. My spouse, Elizabeth, was flying just this last week, and she's in line to board first class. They come up, they do an entire frisk of her, check her out. And as we talked about this afterwards, they've already checked people out, Gerald, coming into the airport, and everybody's watching this happen. A lot of this is just psychological, right, Gerald? To prepare people to take on the police. We're here to help you, right?
Of course it is. Look what happened at the G20 meeting recently in Pittsburgh. They closed down the entire city. They effectively called martial law for 20 world leaders to attend a meeting. The leaders that I know don't walk in fear. And look what they did, the police, the Air Army, the Air Force, the Coast Guard. They took over Pittsburgh. And the police, they had enough battle gear on and body armor to walk through the Battle of the Bulge unscathed. And here they are, wielding batons, beating up co-eds. This is America? So what's happened is that the police and the military and these people in the airports, they become the goon squads to keep the ruling class in place. And that's what we have now.
Wait, Joe, let me interrupt you there. How is that any different than the brown shirts or SS thug tactics of Nazi Germany?
It's not, and that's why fascism is coming to America. Look at how these politicians pump themselves up. front page pictures of our Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, getting off an airplane that you could fit 350 people on, all for herself and a little squad of underlings. And, all dressed to the nines with, the other important people around her. Hey, how about getting in a plane and just doing business? What is all this pomp and circumstances? What they do, Eric, is they pump them up to make them seem so much better than the rest of us, that they deserve this kind of special treatment. Nobody frisks Hillary Clinton when she gets on her plane, and who would want to?
From the Trends Journal, quote, and then in one fell swoop, free market capitalism was gutted. At a stroke of the Washington pen, democracy, now being ruled by the even fewer, had become an oligarchy, end quote. Where is this heading, Gerald?
The facts speak for themselves. As you have the Trends Journal and the electronic version, when you have the click here, we show all the oligarchs that are running this country. The pharmaceuticals, the factory farms, the chain stores. You name it, it's a few companies control all the action. This isn't the America that we were born into. They've taken it over. And again, when I talk about Wall Street, Main Street, Walmart, mom and pop, factory farm, family farm, that's not rhetoric. When it was like that, we were the most egalitarian nation on earth and the envy of the world. Now that we have the oligarchs in charge, the gap between the rich and the poor is the widest than any of the industrialized nations. The facts speak for themselves. So unless the people, by the way, when people ask me, what do you do? What do? I don't buy corporate. I buy as little corporate as I can. I don't buy made in China. I buy local. I support my neighbor. I build my community. And then my country. I buy as little from that group of people that I can possibly buy. Do I buy nothing from them? I have nothing against the Chinese, but I want to put America first and my community first. This Christmas, everything that I buy will be handmade, handcrafted. I'm pushing for the Renaissance, an intellectual revolution, one of minds and not guns. To me, that's the only way we can have the future that we deserve. So in looking at how we can be more productive and how we can build a country, it all starts with the individual. You can't look to a leader. I always say, I don't tell people what to believe, and nobody tells me. The motto of the Trends Research Institute, Eric, is think for yourself. And when you think for yourself, when you assemble the facts, you look at the data, and then you make the necessary moves, whether it's financial, whether it's emotional, or physical. And that's what people need to do. Begin to think for themselves. See what the story looks like in their lives, what they're making of it, and where they're going. When enough people start thinking for themselves, and that's what they don't want you to do. They want you to believe that they're smarter than you. They can think for you. Any adult that believes a politician is the same kind of person that would go to a prostitute and believe that the prostitute says that they love them. And who in their right minds could actually subjugate their thoughts and their dignity to believe that Nancy Pelosi, Barney Frank, Christopher Dodd, Mitch McConnell, Shelby, Obama, Bush, Clinton are smarter than them? These people are not my leaders. They're political hacks. They couldn't lead me across the street. And anyone that follows their leader is going to get the future that they deserve. Each of us are leaders, and we have to find that within ourselves. That is our only salvation.
Gerald, I want to move on to U.S. unemployment, highest in 26 years. You forecasted this, Gerald. What are your thoughts on the tremendous unemployment and the failed stimulus packages that haven't created the promised jobs? The jobs that are gone forever, you said recently. Is that right? And what type of jobs are left?
Well, when we look at job creation, where are they? Again, the facts speak for themselves. Hey, you want a job as a home health aide for maybe $8 an hour? There's one waiting for you. And the older and sicker Americans get, there's going to be more jobs in that field. Those are the jobs that are being created. And, of course, in education, because that's where the stimulus money is going. But it's not real education. It's perpetuating another failed system of entrenched people producing low-quality education, and by the results are there. The results are there for us all to see. We no longer win, place, or show in areas of quality of life, education, lifestyle, jobs, you name it. OECD data, Organization